Engine seizure doesn't just happen by chance. In most cases, it's something you can prevent. And today we're gonna talk about one of the most critical components inside your engine, the piston, and why the choices you make around it make the difference between a reliable engine or a destroyed one. Furthermore, we're also gonna explain to you how to properly measure the piston when ordering a new one. Why do engines seize? When an engine seizes, most people always tend to blame the piston. But in reality, the piston very rarely is the problem. Most of the time, the engine breakdown is caused by poor quality material, incorrect tolerance, wrong assembly, or mismatched components. So the problem is not the piston itself, the problem is the system. Motorbike instruction manuals define the service and piston change in a determined hour range, but you should keep this only as a reference. Weather conditions, track conditions, and riding skills affect the lifetime of a piston. For example, an MXGP rider will wear out components much faster than your Sunday rider. For these reasons, you should always check the engine conditions when possible. How much does quality matter? Choosing a high quality piston already reduces the risk dramatically. But there's something more important. You can't think of a piston as a standalone component. The engine is a system. Everything needs to work together. Piston, cylinder, tolerance, and heat expansions are all things you need to consider. If you mix a high quality piston with a low quality cylinder, you're creating a problem even before starting your engine. This is where companies like Athena make a real difference. This is something that many might not know, but Athena is not only an aftermarket brand, they also do OEM supply for several motorbike manufacturers. So the same design philosophy used for the OEM products is applied also to the aftermarket ones. And that's a huge difference. Athena doesn't just sell components, they engineer them, test them, and then validate them. They don't go shopping for components and rebrand them. Everything is engineered in Italy and thoroughly tested. But now let's quickly speak about testing and development. Here I can confirm direct experience as a professional test rider in the industry. These components are tested on the dyno, on the track, and under real stress conditions. So what you install on your bike is something that has been already pushed to the limit. OEM is a reference, but not the limit. Athena starts from OEM standards and then improves them. So what you get is not just a replacement, it's an upgrade in engineering and performance. But now let's get to the critical part. How do you correctly measure a piston when having to order a new one? Because this is where a lot of mistakes happen. Important before you start, pistons are made of aluminium, and aluminium expands. So before performing the measurement, you should do it in a controlled temperature environment. Room temperature should be around 20 degrees, and the piston should sit in these 20 degrees for at least 8 hours before being measured. This means when the piston is really relaxed and not immediately after it's being used. Why is this crucial? Because the piston sizing is based on very tight tolerances. Even a few hundredths of a millimeter can make a difference between perfect clearance or seizure. A fundamental step is to know where to take the measurement of the piston. And this happens on the skirt perpendicular to the piston pin. You will go in the lower section. You can't just use any measuring device to measure the piston width. You'll need to use a micrometer. You'll use the micrometer in this way, in the lower section of the skirt. In this way, you'll have the correct measurement of the piston, and this will define if you'll get a piston A, B, C, or D for 2 strokes, or A, B, C tolerance for 4-stroke. The other very important step is also to measure the bore of the cylinder kit inside. This you'll need to do in case you're changing only the piston and not the full system of cylinder kit with piston. Always match with the correct cylinder. You don't just choose a piston randomly. The piston choice is based on the cylinder condition, cylinder deformation, and the correct clearance. Quick pro tip, if you don't have the correct tools, always rely on a professional, because guessing here can cost you an engine. But now let's go through the most common mistakes. Low quality oil and wrong type. High performance quality oil can make really a difference in the piston's lifetime. Its density affects the friction inside the cylinder and also the temperature. Mixing components, good quality piston inside a low quality cylinder. Wrong measurements, measuring in the wrong place or at the wrong temperature. Circlips installation, very common. You should never use pliers on piston clips. Gaskets. You should always change the gasket when rebuilding an engine with brand new ones. Sealants instead of gaskets work only if done correctly and with a high quality product. Now let's speak about product consistency. The same engineering philosophy is applied across all Athena pistons. From standard applications to racing applications, quality and testing remains the same. Now it's time to start the season. If you want reliability throughout the season, everything starts here. Before riding, check tolerances, verify assembly, use consistent components. Because once riding, you can't fix these mistakes anymore. Your engine doesn't forgive shortcuts, but it always rewards the right choices. Choose quality, assemble it correctly, and your engine will perform exactly as it should or even better. Now, be sure to subscribe to the Athena YouTube channel, Instagram page, and TikTok. Let us know down in the comments if this video was useful for you and tell us your experience in changing pistons. And I'll see you soon in another Athena Tech Corner. Ciao!